And there we have that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to what is the 7th review of the season, episode out of 46. And we are joined by our second guest of the series so far. We've got Connor, Derby fan here.
Yeah.
How are you feeling coming into this, mate?
Well, it happened 8 months ago, so I can't exactly say I'm nervous.
No, I don't blame you at all. Of course, guys, obviously earlier I did round 6, which was from our two sakes, our 2-0 win over Bolton at home and Connor's Derby 2-1 win over Peterborough. Derby's third win of the season, of course, our fourth win of the season. And this is the table after 6 rounds. So we climbed up to 5th after our win over Bolton, who dropped down to 10th. Derby just behind us in 6th, actually. So,
yeah, maybe been a 6th.
Considering these two played each other in what we're going to show in this stream here, what were your thoughts after? I know it's early days, of course, but what were your thoughts after 6 games, Connor, going into this League One?
Well, I think most of our fans were pretty happy. To start, we were happy we still had the club. We were happy, particularly with our home form and obviously the signings we made. The away form was very, very disappointing, and I think it got even worse after this. I remember us losing away at Lincoln, and that was, I think, when we lost it. And I think Lincoln was sort of when Rosenior really lost his job, I guess. But no, at this stage, everyone was really optimistic. We were thinking certainly that we were going to be challenging in around the top 6, which was sort of the target at the start of the season, and obviously ending 7th, 1 point out of the playoffs on the final day is kind of where we ended up. Obviously, we would have wanted to have gotten the playoffs, and ultimately it was a failure not to make the playoffs, given how long we spent in it in that second half of the season. Paul Warne said it himself. It was a failure not making the playoffs. I don't think it was a critical failure. I don't think we were expected necessarily to go up. Maybe some pundits predicted it. Maybe some of our fans expected it, but I think most of us were expecting a pretty tough season, and that's what we got. But yeah, no, I think going into this game, I remember I was quite nervous. I was quite nervous, but I did back our home form at the time, and I think that was very pivotal. At this point in time, I believe at home we played 3-1 at home. Peterborough.
You played 3 at home and 3 away, and the 3 you won were all
so it was
at
9
home.
points at home from 3 and 2 points from 3 away. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So our away form was terrible, and obviously that did not pick up at all. That stayed terrible the entire season. Pretty much, we didn't win a single game against a top half side on the road all year. So,
if you had to choose, what was your favourite out of the 3 home wins so far? Out of the Oxford game on opening day, then you beat Barnsley 2-1, and then you beat Peterborough 2-1.
Peterborough. Peterborough, in theory, were the highest ranked team in the league because they came down in 22nd. And I think with Oxford, obviously a lot of our fans would say it's their best moment because it's the first game we got our club back. Barnsley was a good performance. I think with Peterborough, if you win a game, if you're 1-0 down in the 88th minute and you win it, it's always going to be one of your favourites, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, of course, guys. As we've brought Connor on, of course, and I know if Match of the Day did do a program on this, I think this would be the opening game for it anyway, and that's why I put it anyway. But yeah, as you all know from Matchweek 7, guys, here it is here. Plymouth Argyle away to Derby County at Pride Park. I could not go to the game, unfortunately, because I was in debt, but Liam did go to the game, and you told me, Liam, one of the best away days you've ever been to. Wherever he's gone.
Well, he's muted, so.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, I'll play the match at the time being on our other screen. Hang on a second. Unfortunately, I thought I had this all sorted because I only just got premium the other day on YouTube for a friend of mine, and then I think his premium's just cancelled out of nowhere, annoyingly. So apologies about the adverts, but we'll get there eventually. But yeah, here we go then, guys. Derby at home to Plymouth Argyle. You can see the YouTube screen, can't you, Connor? Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah.
We were. Obviously, we were 2-0 down at half-time, thanks to Collins and Mendes-Lang, who, at the moment, Collins is your striker talisman for next season.
Well, he's our only striker, so, yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean, this was...
our defence was all over the
just
place.
about onside, I think.
Collins.
And then, yeah, it's just a nice finish. I mean, Collins had a slow... I mean, Collins was kind of good in the middle of the season, but he had a slow start and finish to the end. I think this was the goal line clearance, was it?
Yeah, it was. It was the goal line clearance. We just struggled to find the net first half, and then the second half, obviously, everything completely changed. And then this man, who knows very well how to score against us, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, he does it again at home park later on.
What I'll say is, from the 7 home games we had under Liam Rosenior in all competitions, we won 6.
Yeah,
this was the only one we lost, and the only one we dropped points in.
That's some save by Wildsmith.
It says a lot. We particularly in the first half of the season, Pride Park was a real fortress for us. It always is. Our home form's always massive. I mean, that changed the game. I think it deflected off Stearman and then came to Whittaker. It's and then you got the second goal here.
Yeah, from Sam Cosgrove's debut.
Marginally offside, but we're not going to go there.
Nah, fair enough. That's, I guess, it's your call. It is a very tight one, so I can.
And then this is just a defensive error by Aaron Cashin. Really doesn't have the pace to recover it and beat the keeper. And you never like to lose a game in the 90th minute, especially not when you've been 2-0 up. I think our fan base still call it the most important away win of our entire season. Well, I'd agree with you on that one because I think you lost a couple of away games before that. Didn't you lose?
Exactly, yeah. We our only away win was against Forest Green because we got hammered by Charlton and we disappointingly lost at Fleetwood.
Yeah. I mean, it might seem a little bit ridiculous because obviously you finished, 25 odd points above us and all that, and you end up getting promoted pretty comfortably. But if you do lose that game, that could have had a real detrimental impact on your overall season. It was a crucial point of the season so early on. It was a big 6-pointer early on in the season as well at that point in time. And if you have yet another away defeat at that point, you start worrying about it. You start worrying about your away form. It becomes a lot harder. I think that game really gave you the spirit that you can beat all the top sides away from home, and that's what you sort of ended up doing. You got that point at Ipswich and stuff like that.
Yeah, with the stats at the end, you did beat us on expected goals, but we managed to top everything else. So I guess that's that. But yeah, of course, it was a very close game, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was obviously very disappointed, but when you did get the 2 goals, I was kind of thinking, well, a draw was a fair result from the game. So, but losing it was pretty big sucker punch for us. And obviously, you could say this at any point of the season we drop points, but had we not conceded that 90th minute goal, obviously mathematically we'd have been in the playoffs. But you could say that about any goal we conceded that dropped us points. So I wouldn't really highlight that in the seventh match week of the season when we dropped 2 points on the 45th and 3 points on the 46th.
It's a very significant match as well because this is the first time we played each other since, I believe, 2010 in the Championship.
Yeah.
The year we got relegated and we still somehow won.
That would have been a 6-point with a relegation battle. That would have been.
Yeah.
Because
ultimately,
between 2008 and 2011, we were sort of just staying.
Sorry about that, boys. I was eating my tea.
Yeah. Wait, what's that, Liam?
Sorry about that. I was eating my tea. That's why.
Oh, that's all right. No worries. But yeah, no, obviously, no, of course, and ultimately, Connor, it was us that did go down at the end with Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the battle, really.
It's quite weird talking about a bottom 4 in the Championship. Not sort of a relegation battle in the Championship of Peterborough Wednesday, Plymouth and Derby given this season.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. But of course, as we all see there, guys, obviously it ended 3-2 to Argyle. A great win for us. Now, of course, so far in this series, I react to, the highlights of my episodes of each of the games that I've been to in League One this season. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game for this one. And so far, the only one that I've been managed to show was Charlton away back in Matchweek 4. raging like crazy. But what I have got for you guys is, and I'm going to share this on both StreamYard and Discord, is clips from a certain famous Liam Martin of his time at Pride Park.
I don't like listening to our voice.
Well, neither do I. Have to go through it all the time. I've got it here. It's in the Oh, actually, I'll just once it stops buffering and I'm able to share my screen. Right, there we go. It's in the home park video, but yeah, it's if I can get the right time frame. Yeah, this is Liam's time at Pride Park, everyone. So hope you all enjoy it. Camera cinematography of Liam Martin.
I think that was at 2-1. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, this is 2-1 now.
The score in the top left corner.
What were you thinking when we scored and all that, Connor? At this time,
we were very worried. I know people around us were very worried because we felt we didn't have a grip on the game at all in the first half, even though we were 2-0 up. So you feared if you concede. It's one of those games. If there was a third goal, whoever got the third goal would, have the momentum clearly to, with goal and win the game. So.
And that's the 2-2.
We all thought we was going to get a draw at that point.
Yeah, I had this as a draw in my predictions. I had a 1-1 in my predictions.
I think I had defeat, I think.
This is the one game Liam had us to lose all season.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I came into this match after that brilliant Bolton win. I thought, Derby, that's a big test. I'll take a point. I can't see us winning. I'll go 1-1.
Well, you always take a point away from home, in my opinion, particularly if you're playing a tough opponent.
Exactly.
You always take a point.
My voice went in this part.
Yeah, your voice is gone already.
Yeah, I know.
What was your prediction for this game, Connor? Just out of curiosity.
I can't remember.
Fair enough.
To be honest.
I'm so far back.
I had us to lose 3 games all season. I'm surprised this actually isn't one of them.
I can't remember. I wouldn't have predicted us to lose. I never predicted to lose at home. I did against Ipswich.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. Of course, I remember you telling me now all the day. That of course I went to Derby Ipswich. I went to Derby Ipswich, so that game will be shown on that episode there. It's also what's Samuel commented here. All right, lads, Plymouth to stay up, in my opinion. Great club with a class fan base. Well, I'll take that any day of the week, mate. That's all I can say regarding that. But yeah, of course, it ended 3-2 to Argyle. So I am going to now edit that on the table here. So by the time this stream ends, we've basically got an updated table because, of course, on other apps there are a lot of postponed games and all that, but they all get put as like match weeks and all that. Hence why tomorrow morning our home game against Sheffield Wednesday. That is match week 8.
Is that the home game against Wednesday?
Yeah, because even though we played that after Wycombe away, that still counts as match week 8 because it was because we were going to play it and then it got postponed because of the unfortunate death of the Queen. But yeah, no, basically, that week still counts as match week 8, and then our home game against Oxford is match week 9.
It's interesting to think about that actually because, and I know we struggled in the previous 3 away games, but we lost at Lincoln in our 8th game of the season, and we were scheduled to play Morecambe away, which would have been a significantly easier game. It'd be interesting to see if we had played that game and had we won it, for instance, whether Rossini may well have kept his job. I don't know whether it was a formality if he was going to lose his job at Derby or whether it was going to be for all I know, we earmarked Warren no matter what was happening, But I don't know the inside of a club. I think these days under our new ownership, everything's quite watertight with information, so I can't say for certain.
Well, of course, though, that Morecambe game, that I'm going to be reacting to tomorrow morning because I know that got originally put as Matchweek 8 anyway, and then I'll be on to I know what you've told me, the horrible Lincoln day.
Oh yeah, it was a terrible performance from us.
Which moves us on to the next game I've got lined up, a South Yorkshire derby at Hillsborough between Sheffield Wednesday.
Come on, Wednesday!
As Liam's just shown there, yes. A brilliant win for Barnsley at the end, and this proving to be Wednesday's second defeat of the season.
I believe this is the only game they lost at home all season as well.
It is, yeah, you are right. And Barnsley's the only team to take 6 points off them this season. And obviously very unlucky to, lose that playoff final, of course. But yeah, on my Discord stream now is the game of this game. A brilliant Barnsley win, and this turns around some of their inconsistent form at the start of the season.
Yeah, that's a brilliant run.
I say that though, but of course, last time they had a 2-2 draw against Ipswich. Very good point for them. A game that I had Ipswich to win as well. But before that, they had that dreadful Oakwell 3-0 defeat to Wycombe. So this really does make up amends. And that is Devante Cole giving Barnsley the lead here at Hillsborough.
Barnsley started the season quite slow.
They did.
They struggled to get momentum, particularly away from home. Although,
us.
Oh, yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, our first game of the season was against Barnsley. And I reacted to that thinking this will go one way or the other. But obviously, like you said, Connor, they started the season really slow. But by the time that some of the second half of the season came in, they looked like on form, the best team in the league.
Yeah, particularly at home. I mean, they ended up losing their last 2 games at Oakwell, didn't they, of the season?
They did. One of them, of course, was to Ipswich. I can't remember who the other one was. Peterborough. Of course it was. Yeah, it was Peterborough.
Yeah.
This was back when David Stockdale was the number 1 keeper for Wednesday. And then that is James Norwood delivering the winner.
I presume you guys know that he's ended up at York.
Who Stockdale has?
Yeah, Stockdale's.
I didn't know that. No, well, David Stockdale is no
Sheffield
longer.
Wednesday have also arranged a pre-season friendly with York as well, so they're going to have going back to play. It's quite an interesting one, but he's gone to York City.
He's nearly if I rightly remember, he's nearly like at the end of his career now as well.
Oh, he's an old man. Yeah, he's an old man.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, but. Of course, yeah. Barnsley winning at 2-0 and looking at the player ratings here, completely outclassing Wednesday for this moment.
He's the star man there, Mads Anderson.
And obviously, I've been saying throughout this entire series so far that I personally think he's been one of the he's been one of the best centre backs of the season. My honest personal opinion, he's phenomenal servant for Barnsley.
And we can't mention Sheffield Wednesday without mentioning Barry Batten. Sorry.
No, very true. Very true. But no, Bannon, as we see there, didn't have the greatest of games, but neither did Wednesday as a whole, really. It's frustrating for Wednesday. Well, the frustrating bit for Wednesday is that they had the more accurate passes and the more ball possession, but Barnsley totally beat them everywhere else, and that's what matters most.
It's what you do with the ball, though. It's what you do with the ball. You can have all the possession in the world if you do nothing with it. It's pointless.
100%, but it's not doom and gloom for Wednesday anyway, because this is after this game and after they lose to us next time. It's the start of their mental unbeaten run. So I'll just once I find the fixture, I will put that in. But obviously, after they lost to us, which obviously I'm going to show you all tomorrow morning.
Who's
not the end? It starts Wednesday's complete unbeaten run. But yeah, no, a great win for Barnsley at the end. I believe that is Barnsley's third win of the season. So they beat Cheltenham, then they beat Bristol Rovers. Yeah, then they lost to Wycombe, drew with Ipswich. Yeah, Barnsley's third win of the season, and they completely outclassed Wednesday from start to finish. And it's one to forget for Wednesday as well, considering the last game they had, they absolutely tore Forest Green to shreds by 5-0, which just shows the quality they have, really, in general.
I think it's obviously it's a case. I think it's happened, and it's what you expected. All three of the sides in the top three deserve to go up. All three of them are far better than the teams below, and I think the ball getting promoted is exactly what you've expected, and I'm sure most people will be very happy with that.
I got my I think I got my prediction wrong for this as well, because I think I said a Wednesday win. Yes, I did. I said a tight 1-0 Wednesday win. So that's another one biting the dust. Moving on to the next game. Next game I've got involved is what was back then, early days, a top of the table automatic promotion clash. Pompey hosting Peterborough. These two in the top three after 6 games with Ipswich. So Ipswich knew that who they've got, which I'm going to show later on, which is against Accrington Stanley away, they knew they needed to win their game depending on what happens here at Fratton Park. Of course, Pompey ended up 2-1 winners, so it was actually a very good win for Pompey at the end. But regardless, this was back then this was a top of the table clash, but it was the complete opposite when they played each other in January. So I'll just wait for that to upload now on my Discord screen if adverts hurry themselves up. All right, there we go. This is just before we went to Fratton Park ourselves.
That's just a terrible mistake at the back.
No, it is 100%. Well, Peterborough did take the lead, to be fair to them, thanks to none other than Jack Marriott.
Yeah.
It's interesting with Peterborough because I think it was this game that started their complete inconsistency, because in a few games later, they have that 1-0 defeat to Bolton. So after this game, this is Peterborough's third defeat of the season already.
That's been the story. It was a story of their season. They won one, lost one, won one, lost one. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. They hardly drew.
Games.
They hardly drew unless it was against Charlton.
They lost, was it 17 games he lost in the end?
I think it was something like that, yeah.
It's a lot of games to lose and make the playoffs.
It is.
But if you don't draw, drawing is not a great result in football, because it's in a lot of circumstances it's kind of like a defeat.
It is 100%. The only positive from it is Pompey's equaliser.
You would rather win one and lose one than draw two, unless the 2 draws are to extend your winning run or your unbeaten run.
Oh yeah,
because then that just makes you feel better and you feel invincible. But points wise, it's definitely better to win one, lose one then.
That was back when Dane Scarlett was playing well for Pompey at the start of the season until his form dipped. But no, of course, Peterborough, they ended the season with, because I've got FOTMob on my phone at the moment. Yeah, they ended with 24 wins, 5 draws, and 17 defeats.
Yeah, 5 draws.
That is inconsistency summed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only thing being is that at least one of the, as Dane Scarlett scores the winner there. I guess there is this thing in the EFL where there is going to be at least someone who wins so much and loses so much. But I guess it's part of football. But yeah, overall, it's too inconsistent and not exactly good enough if you want to be near the top.
Yeah.
I'm just curious who Peterborough's going to have as their new striker, because they've just put Johnson Clark-Harris up for sale. But at the end, this game was 8th place hosting 6th.
Yes. Yeah.
With obviously Connor's team sandwiched in between the pair of them at the end.
Indeed.
But yeah, a very good win. A very good win for Pompey at the end. A vital one as well. You could argue that this and their home win over Bolton, probably their 2 best results of the entire season, considering against the other top teams, they absolutely struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Peterborough beating Pompey on the possession and then Pompey on the expected goals, Pompey on the total shots, both together on big chances. But Pompey were the ones that had the big chances missed. Peterborough better on the accurate passes, but not the end of the world for Posh, because later on in the season, obviously they played Pompey at London Road, and well, Posh got their revenge completely. And I think, if I rightly remember, I think that was Darren Ferguson's first game in charge. Again,
I remember.
There's something
Darren
like
Ferguson's
that.
had too many games first games in charge of Posh.
Yeah. I mean, it was his fourth
I
time.
can't wait to find out the 2025 edition.
Oh, we'll get to 2030, and they'll still be in League One, and it'll just be Darren Ferguson is appointed Peterborough manager for the 9th time.
Grant McCann has been appointed Peterborough manager.
It's just going to swap every single time. But Dane Scarlett getting man of the match. Not surprised about that. Of course, this was back when Danny Cowley was managing Pompey before he himself lost his own fate over there in January, when things would turn to the worse for them. But either way, as Liam and I have been saying in previous streams just before this one, that obviously this was back when Pompey thought they were going to win the league. But to be fair to them, they were playing well at the start. But then the minute they played us in Ipswich, and after that, everything just completely crumbled. Oh, there we go. I have a habit of going past it all the time. If it was up to me and there was a way where you could just put them all together, then I would. But unfortunately, this website does not do that. But I'm not surprised.
How does it do it?
No, because it's a generator. That's probably why.
Oh, so you have to find each individual result.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the order I'm trying to put it in and all that, yeah. Predictions wise, I said. Well, I got this wrong. I said this would be a 2-2 draw because I thought they'd both be well and truly up for this game, but Pompey ended up 2-1 winners. And they currently stay at the top of the league after that. Before I go on to the next game, just going to read the comments. Terry Alford, come on, you Greens. Barry, 1 foot Bannon. Oh, dear. Well, Terry, we'll be playing him again next season. I can't wait for another trip to Hillsborough. Oh, bear with me. No, that's opening day. We don't want that. Come on. The next game I've got lined up is a big clash at the Uni Bowl. Bolton Wanderers hosting Charlton Athletic in what is, after 2 consecutive defeats, Bolton bounced back to winning ways with a fine performance over a side managed by Ben Garner back in the day, and of course, this is only Charlton's 2nd defeat of the season. This is just shows they've drawn quite a few games so far.
They had a very good record at home for a very long time.
They did, yeah, because obviously. So far in their season, after 6 games, of course, they first game they who was it? They drew with Accrington Stanley away. Then they beat Derby at home. Then they lost to Sheffield Wednesday away. Then they destroyed us at home. Then they drew with Cambridge at home, and then last time out drawing 1-1 away at Wycombe. So inconsistency basically, but yeah, in terms of the home games, apart from the Cambridge game, to be fair to Charlton, they do take the lead there. So positives from them there. But like in terms of like playing against the so-called big teams like Derby and us, no, they were absolutely unbelievable at home.
And Pompey.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we get to that as well. Yeah, they beat Pompey 3-0. They beat Barnsley 2-0. But then they go to other home games, like they don't beat Cambridge at home. That's a draw. They drew 1-1 with Forest Green at home, which I remember Charlton fans react to that extremely pissed off. That's Bolton equalising immediately.
Yep.
But of course,
again, Bolton. I mean, one of the common themes is I guess it's always going to be this case because it's much easier to win at home than away. But all of the sort of top 7 really had very good home records and quite.
And that's 2-1.
4th to sort of 7th, pretty poor away records. So,
without a doubt. And for Everett's side, this is really what they feel they needed after losing at home to Wednesday and then losing away to us. And then one of the young players of the season there, Raksaki, nearly scoring a second, not quite. Well, their last game against Wycombe, the 1-1 draw, that was basically a game about the star men. Raksaki for Charlton, Anis Mehmeti for Wycombe. But nothing here as Johnston wraps up the 3 points for Ian Everett's side. And that is, I believe, Bolton's 3rd win of the season. I think it's their 3rd win of the season. Because, they drew with Ipswich. Then they beat Wycombe. They outclassed Wycombe at home. Then drew with Port Vale away. Then beat Morecambe for their 2nd win. Yeah, so that's Bolton's 3rd win of the season. And they ended up doing it no problem at all. It was actually Kieran Lee that got given man of the match by FOTMob. But yeah, they were better than Charlton in every department here. That just sums that up. But of course, a vital win for them regardless because, it helped them get playoffs at the end, of course. They couldn't do it against Derby, though, could they, Connor?
Sorry, who's that?
Bolton.
No.
I'd still argue, and I know we're going to get to this game when I go. I think it's round 28, but yeah, that Pride Park win for Derby over Bolton, I personally thought that was your best performance of the entire season, or one of them.
I mean, it was certainly our best result. I mean, that was during the time of our 19-game unbeaten run.
It was, yeah.
And obviously it was a very big home win. And it was a big 6-pointer at the time. And
it was back when you two were like the 2 most informed teams in the league.
Well, yeah, I mean, and so were Barnsley, and all 3 of us sort of came up together and pushed, Posh and Pompey out of the picture and all that at the time. And obviously Ipswich had fallen away at that point, and they'd started to get into their run, so we were all chasing down them. And all of us were sort of 8-9 points away from the automatics, trying to force any sort of way back in. But yeah,
100%.
I got as it is. Us and Bolton sort of kind of both tailed off towards the end of the season. Just us more so than them, of course. But...
Yeah, no. I got this game completely wrong because I said it'd be a 1-1 draw, so that did not happen at all. It's because I thought both sides would just not be great, but I'd still see Bolton get a point anyway because Charlton drew their last 2 games and then Bolton, of course, losing to us. I just didn't see them losing to Charlton at home, though. So, yeah, I went with a 1-1 draw, but completely got it wrong. Bolton, 3-1 winners, of course. That moves us on to the next game that I've got lined up for you guys. Before I do that, just going to check the comment section if there's anything. No, there's nothing at the moment. So, the next game I got lined up for you guys takes place at the Abbey Stadium, which is a brilliant 2-0 win for Mark Bonner over the draw specialist Lincoln City. So yeah, 2-0 Cambridge, and this was Mark Bonner and his side continuing their very good start to the season.
Yeah,
and I said this in the previous.
They were in and around the playoffs early on.
I said this in my previous stream actually, but I felt there was this might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel that Cambridge's brilliant start to the season coincided and linked with Morecambe's dreadful start to the season was why Cambridge stayed. One of the reasons why Cambridge stayed up at the end, and one of the reasons why Morecambe went down at the end. But no, this is a very good win for Mark Bonner's side.
Yeah.
This was a ground I did not do at the end this season.
I wasn't there. It was
Connor told me not a fan of Cambridge.
Well, it's just not the best place to go for an away fan. I mean, the away end is miles from the pitch. There's like a concrete wall that you'll see at the end here that steps up. It's just it's just so far away. It's not the best view in the world.
And that's 1-0 thanks to Joe Ironside. This is a ground we struggled at massively. They're one of our bogey grounds away from home, Cambridge. Yeah, if I had the money, I would have at the time I would have done this game. I would have met up with Alfie, of course, on the day. But no, this was a great win for them. But it also sums up Lincoln's season as well, because against the so-called top sides, unless it's Peterborough, they are absolutely magnificent. And then when they play teams like Cambridge, they are absolutely atrocious. And it sums up their season, really. Oh, we got a fight going on here, I believe. Oh, never mind. I don't know if that was like a penalty call or something. That's a foul. Refs playing on, of course, but yeah. And then, as for Lincoln, like again with my example on how good they are against the so-called top sides, I still call them the best side to come to Home Park this season because they absolutely outclassed us at home from start to finish in what I still dub as our worst performance of the entire season. But yeah, no, Cambridge 2-0 winners at the end. Lincoln did actually beat them on possession, but it's everything else that Cambridge, again, another one where everything else Cambridge completely beats them on, apart from the accurate passes. But again, it's that that's won them the 2-0 win, and Ironside proving to himself having a brilliant day out on this Saturday against Lincoln. I can't remember what my prediction was for this. I went with 1-0 Cambridge. I'll take that. I only got one score right from this week, and that will be shown later on once that gets showed, of course. But yeah, no, obviously it ended 2-0 Cambridge at the end. Josh is back. We haven't had Bristol Rovers yet, Josh, so you might want to stay tuned for that one. It's your home game against Morecambe. In fact, fun enough, Josh, that is the next game. So when I do get to that, I will. But that is the next game. Your 2-2 draw against Morecambe. The same scoreline that we had when we went to the Mem. But it's a ground we hardly ever struggle at, and it's a ground that the Rovers usually tend to do really well against us for. The ground both of us struggled at the end, and Ipswich struggled there as well. Because you drew 1-1 there, didn't you, Connor, at Bristol Rovers?
Yeah. Yeah, we conceded a penalty in injury time.
Oh, that must have been painful.
Yeah, but we deserved it. We deserved to not win the game. We basically just went 1-0 up and part of us and wasted time. So
that's like a Jose Mourinho game. That is.
Yeah.
2-0 Cambridge, very good win from them. Obviously, their form is completely dipping after a few games around here, but no, they had a great start to the season. They were just outside the top 6, and that was that continuing it. So there we go. We do move on now to Bristol Rovers' 2-2 draw with Morecambe. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that share screened up now. Now at the halfway stage of round 7 for tonight, before I move on to round 8 tomorrow morning. Of course, the games tomorrow are Sheffield Wednesday at home, Oxford at home, and then tomorrow night, the so-called Dockyard Derby at Fratton Park. Whereas Derby, of course, it will be Morecambe away. Then, I think it was Morecambe away. Yeah, it is Morecambe away. then Lincoln away, and then Cheltenham. Not Cheltenham at home. It's Wycombe at home. And know what's interesting about that game as well, Connor, is that I said to the boys in our preview for the Pompey game that I said, given Derby State last season, watch this game be really ill-tempered and hostile and all that, because these two were literally involved in the whole situation and all that and stuff. But like you told me, though, it more happened at Adams Park than at Pride Park.
I mean, there wasn't too much. I mean, we won the game, and obviously not being too sort of, I guess, offensive to Wycombe, but they didn't bring too many fans. So there wasn't too much to start with, I guess. Whereas when we was at Adams Park, yeah, it did spill over a bit.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise, because the whole situation was the three clubs involved. It was Derby, Wycombe, and Middlesbrough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all the answers to do with our FFP failures and timings of points deductions and clubs suing us for, lost positions and lost revenue because of where they may well have finished if there'd been a points deduction given or if we'd not broken FFP, etc. So
yeah,
big circle on it, but
Morecambe did take the lead, to be fair to them, and that's frustrating from a Rovers point of view because they just hit the bar. And even Connor Ripley, of all people, couldn't get to in time. While that plays, of course, I'm going to read the comments. Josh saying dreadful. Daryl saying good moaning. It's the Pilgrims and the Sheep. Not surprised. Proper pen finish, smashing the top left. Ryan Loft and Bobby Thomas. Feels like years ago we had Bobby Thomas. I'll start that again actually because I was reading the comment section. But yeah, no, of course. I'll go back to where Morecambe's first goal is. But yeah, Morecambe taking the lead. But either way, I think like Josh has just said there, this probably feels like drop points for Rovers this game. But it could be a lot worse because you know what's coming later on in the season at the Mazuma Stadium between these two.
Yeah, I mean, but when you look at Morecambe, who eventually went down and had a terrible away record all season for the end of 1, 2 or 3 games on the road all year. And then you don't beat them at home, that's a problem. I mean,
Rovers equalising immediately.
Morecambe had a half-decent record at home.
They did. No, I agree. But obviously, yeah, like you said, their away form was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I think they only won 2 or 3 away games all season. So, dropping points at home to them is a little bit of a blow, yeah.
And they did take the lead as well again, 2-1. I thought at half time we were going to lose to Morecambe.
The tent.
Yep. Oh, the tent! I got soaked in that tent. I couldn't go to the game. The 2-2 between.
I couldn't go to the game now. Anyway, the tent's gone.
Yeah, it is gone. You're right. I couldn't go to the game at the 2-2 at Rovers. Harvey England did, so his vlog is out on that. But I was at the Pizza Cup game, and all I'm going to say is the weather was nothing more than absolutely appalling. And I was there was rain all in my skin for a whole good 3 hours. And that's where I think I agree with Connor that I just wasn't a big fan of the tent after all because of that.
I don't think anybody can ever be a fan of the Mem, to be honest. It's one of the worst looking and one of the least functional grounds in the Football League.
But yeah, no, it wasn't my favourite ground, I can't lie. When I went, definitely not. But yeah, Rovers did beat Morecambe on possession. In fact, Rovers were better in every department, so they did well to get a point at the end as Morecambe took the lead twice. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised this was a 2-2 at the end. But this is actually, we say Morecambe were dreadful at the start of the season. I know eventually they do get their first win as well, but this round 7 was around the time where Rovers' form was starting to dip because I know they had quite a few games where they were just hovering above the relegation zone.
Start of the season, there was a lot of risk of hanging on, are they going to get relegated? Are they going to be down there in that fight? And obviously, eventually, that didn't turn out to be the case. Although, to be honest, at the moment, I do sort of fear for them a little bit next season. I don't know. I just think their form at the back end of last year a bit of second season syndrome as well.
This was the game Kilger was fully written off, completely outpaced on both the goals, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, interesting because Rovers will go at home from drawing 2-2 to Morecambe, and then also drawing 2-2 to the league champions at the end. But even either way, we didn't deserve more than a point anyway. They were the better team from start to finish. We were terrible at the men. I can't lie. I'll just it'll be round whatchamacallit 35 after I've just seen it there. That's the quickest maths I think I've ever done in God knows how many years. So yeah, that ended 2-2. We go, speaking about Morecambe and the Northwest, that is where the next game is. In fact, before I do that, I'm going to I need to double check. What was my prediction for this game at the end? I got it completely wrong. I said Rovers would win this 3-1. So, no, that did not happen at the end, which then moves us on to the next game. Like I said, we do move to the Northwest next, speaking about Morecambe, but it's one of their neighbours. In fact, we go to the Northwest twice. First up is Fleetwood hosting Wycombe in what ended up being a 1-1 draw at the end. And then after that will be Accrington Stanley's 2-0 defeat to Ipswich, and Ipswich basically returning to the top of the league after round 7, which just shows, like I said in my previous stream as well, that ever since rounds 3 and 4, Ipswich have been there from the absolute very beginning.
Well, they dropped off of it in January, and
they did, yeah. But other than that, they've pretty much been near the top at the very beginning.
Yeah, they've always been up there.
But yeah, no, Fleetwood and Wycombe drawing 1-1 at the Highbury Stadium. I'm not used to calling it the Highbury Stadium.
Fleetwood starting the season. I seem to remember Fleetwood starting the season with an unreasonable amount of draws.
They did, yeah. No, that's very true.
Yeah, kept drawing games.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to look at the table again on this, but I'm pretty sure Fleetwood and Lincoln were the two clubs that ended up with the most draws in the league, which doesn't surprise me. Actually, no. Fleetwood's third for draws. Lincoln is top, the unquestionable top for draws. Right. Pompey second for draws, and then Fleetwood third. Yeah. It's interesting, actually, because after their 3-2 defeat to Ipswich, I was just not expecting Pompey to draw so many goals. But I think from a Wycombe point of view, this is not a bad draw. It could be worse. Yeah, go on, Liam.
No, I was looking at. I was just looking at something else. I wasn't.
Oh, were you? Oh, right, fair enough. I thought you were calling my name for some reason.
No.
No, fair enough. Now I can't remember who took the lead here, so I'm going to find out. I'm saying that because I'm not looking at FOTMob right now. I'm looking at my YouTube screen. I'll quickly pause it just to have a look. Oh, it was Mehmeti. Why am I not surprised? Literally the star man for that club before he departed to Bristol City in January, and then his manager departing the month after. And we're facing Gareth again next season. He's now at QPR.
Unless he ends up getting sacked before you play QPR.
You know what's interesting? I've made a very early championship prediction that he'll get sacked at the start of the season.
Well, they seem to be selling all their best players.
But who have they sold so far? Fleetwood equalised there for the time being.
They sold Dickey, didn't they? The centre half.
Have they sold their striker, Lyndon Dykes?
I can't remember.
Oh, fair enough. I was going to say, if they sell him, that's a big loss because I highly rate him. But yeah, like you said, they have lost their they have sold their centre half. Wycombe nearly making it 2-1. Fleetwood saving them.
I think they've sold 2 centre halves actually.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not.
Looking back at this now, this actually makes me glad that we played Fleetwood away in the second game of the season just to get a horrible ground for us over and done with.
Yeah. We played them pretty early on. We had a 0-0 draw with them.
Oh, yeah, very true.
Barton couldn't finish. I think we had like a XG of about 3, but who cares about XG anyway?
No, exactly.
Not me.
Speaking about XG, that's what Fleetwood got for most of this game anyway. In fact, Fleetwood got more than Wycombe for most of this game anyway, apart from the big chances which they're level on. But
yeah, true.
I think if Wycombe was at home, they would have been 100% the more disappointed side. I couldn't imagine it being any other way possible. Well, I got this match wrong anyway because I thought Fleetwood would turn up in this game and win 2-1. Well, they did turn up in this game, but just didn't win. They drew. Living up to Liam's nickname for Fleetwood, came for a point FC.
Yep, absolutely.
You could say that about Lincoln now, Liam, since they're the draw merchants of this season.
I can't say too much about Fleetwood because they took 4 points off us. So
yeah. Oh, Jacob's joined the chat. Josh saying, right, I'm going to lurk and play Gio now. Have a nice rest of the stream. Cheers, mate. No, I appreciate that. Fleetwood bought a new striker, though, Jaden Stockley. Yeah, Jaden Stockley did join in January, and no, I thought that was a very good signing from them. I can't lie.
They signed Jack Marriott as well in January,
and they signed Jack Marriott from Peterborough, who we watched earlier in that 2-1 defeat to Pompey. It just shows how mad. It just shows how mad that January transfer window can really change your team sometimes.
Yeah, it can do if you've got money to do so. If you've got the ability to do so, yeah. I mean, for us, it was pretty useless being under a transfer embargo. You can't really do much with free transfers in January.
When are you out of that transfer
we already
embargo?
are.
Oh, you are now. Okay, yeah, no, fair enough.
It was going to be next summer, but it got ended prematurely apparently. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Wait, what was it? What was it that put you in the transfer embargo anyway? Like the points?
Well, it was just part of the business plan. So when we came out of administration, it was just you can't spend money on transfers for 2 years. But then we renegotiate the business plan sort of a year in, and we've now got a new plan which is significantly less restrictive and allows us to do sort of what we want in the transfer market. I'm sure there'll be some sort of caps there or some sort of limits, but those limits can't be too restrictive. I mean, we had a 150 grand a week wage budget last year, which was the second highest in the division. So,
yeah,
I think realistically, there's nothing holding us back in that sense. It's just about how you distribute it properly, how you rebalance the squad, how you get the best squad depth, best ages of the squad, etc., and also, of course, the best talent.
Oh, 100%. Jacob saying, this was when we played Pompey, one of the many leagues we've thrown away. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's all right. It gets better. Let me just have a look. It gets better for you in the next round anyway, Jacob, because that was your postponed home game against Forest Green, which you won 4-1.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it got very, very bad for them by the end of the season.
Oh yeah, of course it did. Of course it did. I mean, I've just witnessed earlier Forest Green getting absolutely torn to shreds by Sheffield Wednesday 5-0. And you know what was interesting about that is that after they lost 3-0 to us in their 5th game of the season, they were actually 10th in the league because they were 7th after their 4th game because they beat Aki 2-1 at home. And then after they lose to Wednesday, and this is where I said earlier in my stream, they fell from 10th all the way down to 20th in one go because of losing 5-0 to Wednesday. And I was just like, how can they fall that low so quickly? Shows how tight the League One honestly can be.
Yeah. Well, early on in the season, it's always going to be the case, no?
Yeah, 100%. This is our next game.
Accrington
Stanley
Stanley
versus
there's never any
Ipswich.
gaps between teams, so it's very easy to drop.
Who are they?
Exactly, Liam. It is Who Are They FC. Accrington Stanley host Ipswich. This was a must-win from Ipswich's point of view.
Can I just say, I mean, call them out a bit, but I am so glad that they've been relegated.
Oh, okay. How come? I want to hear this. How come?
Not many clubs I feel like that with, but John Coleman is a salty arsehole.
Oh, here we go. This is where the John Coleman anti-John Coleman United joins together between Connor and Liam.
He always, he said in both the games against us that, they were the better side, etc. You wouldn't believe that they lost 7-0 on aggregate across the 2 games.
Yeah, we beat them 3-0 at home.
Yeah, He can't take
and
it.
then
He can't
and
take-
then
he
beat
can't
them
take
2.
losing. He's one of the worst losers in football. And one of the others that we've come across this season is Derek Adams at Morecambe. Who,
Oh yeah, I like Derek, but that's for obvious
Well, you would
reasons
do
why,
Plymouth,
though,
of
for
course,
everything he's
but I
done for
think,
us. But I get
think-
why a lot of people don't like him.
I think he's a barrel of excuses. You know,
As much as I love Derek
Yep.
for what he did for us, I do agree with you on that, definitely. But it's the same with when we played Aki, because we beat them 3-0 and then beat them 2-0. So we beat them 5-0 over 2 legs, and Coleman was still complaining.
also, now I've been to Accrington once and experienced the away end and stuff like that. I'm not as bothered about them not being there.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm actually annoyed I didn't go to
As you can see
Alfred
from that as well, that's
Aki.
the other reason, because that was actually against us in the FA Cup a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
That clip.
It was a game Liam was meant to go to, actually. But if I had money, I would have joined him on that. But I chose
That's
to
what I think
save.
every time I look at Derby's Twitter timeline.
Yeah, I chose to save my money for Morecambe instead, it turned out to be an away that I absolutely loved. So cheers for the inspiration, Pieface, when you do watch this. But no, this was just Ipswich knew that this was a must win for them, and yeah, Kieran McKenna's side absolutely delivered, no problem. You could just see how massive their support is in the distance there as well. It's just that whole away end is just a sea of blue. And there you go. That's 1-0 there. Another Connor Chaplin goal. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Chaplin both times. Yeah. I still, for me, Connor, the best player of the season. My honest opinion. I don't know if you agree with me on that. Wherever. Oh, Connor's muted for the time being. Oh, okay, fair enough.
I was just watching a video on Twitter.
Oh, that's all right. No worries at all, mate. No worries at all.
It's just Erling Haaland singing "The Champions of Europe." You'll never sing that chant.
No, yeah.
And then it's got loads of Forest fans under it saying that they've rattled him, and then all the Derby posts under it saying, you know, the old thing where you point in the mirror and go, get in there and make it all about you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, fair enough. Jacob saying, after the weekend we were meant to play FGR, we lost 2 games in a row, 1-0. Yeah, you did, because you had Fleetwood at home, which I expected to be a Peterborough win completely, which didn't happen. And then...
win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2.
Yeah, because you lost at home to Fleetwood, was I was expecting to be a Peterborough win, no problem. And then you lost away to Bolton 1-0. But that's a tough game anyway, to be fair, Jacob. So that could have easily gone either one way or the other, but no. Ipswich knew they needed to win this game, and they did, no problem. Winning 2-0 at the end, of course. Pushing their promotion hopes once more. But yeah, Connor Chaplin getting a double. He was on the bench as well. Now, that does surprise me. But what I was saying, Connor, was that I personally think, for me, he's been the best player in League One this season. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
I mean, he's got pretty much an unrivaled number of goal contributions and, fired Ipswich
definitely.
promotion, really. So, yeah, he's a key player. But we always knew he was a good player. I mean, he was excellent for Pompey when he was there. He was pretty good at Barnsley as well when they were in the Championship. You fully expect he's got the quality at the top of this division. And he's the type of player, who's been there, done it. Type of person who's got that record and, he's got the medal for it. And, he's obviously, I'm sure he'll continue to be a very important player for Ipswich in the Championship.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Ipswich better in pretty much every department. Yeah, too easy for them, no problem at all. 2-0 winners there. I can't lie. I think if I rightly remember, I said this with my heart. I think this was. I'm looking back. I think this is actually one of my worst predictions of the entire season. Yeah, it is. Would you guys like to guess what I went for this freaking scoreline between these two?
Well, what game is this? Sorry,
Accrington, Stanley, Ipswich. My prediction for this. Do you want to guess what I went with?
Did you go with an Accrington win? Did you?
I went with a 1-1 draw, and I'm still pretty embarrassed with myself for that.
Nah, it's not that bad.
I just went into it thinking Ipswich are going to lose the game some point, so I just expected them to drop points at least. But No, it just wasn't to be. But I didn't think they'd lose regardless anyway. But I just knew they were going to drop points at some point. If that fixture got played towards the end of the season, I know exactly what I would have gone with.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Ipswich 2-0 winners, of course. No problem there at all. That's then it's one of them or Pompey then at the top of the table after round 7, which we'll have a look at later on at the end of the stream on what the table looks like, of course. 4 games to go. Our next game is speaking about Forest Green earlier, that is where we're going to next. They hosted Shrewsbury at home, and Shrewsbury finally picking up their second win of the season after
that game between
start.
Forest Green versus Shrewsbury feels like one of the most rural games in English football.
Oh, it does. It does. I couldn't agree more. Wait till Torquay come up, and then we'll have another competition.
I don't know. Torquay's a town, though.
True.
Well, Shrewsbury obviously is, but Shrewsbury's just surrounded by fields.
Oh, it is. Oh, of course it is. 100%. I got my mum who lives pretty much near up there, and every time I go there, it is just. Even when I'm in the town centre, I can just see at least one sort of field.
My granddad was from Shropshire, so yeah, I've
fair enough. And of course, Shrewsbury was an away game. I know you weren't able to do this season, so I know next season you've got the chance to do that now.
Yes, I wasn't able to go. It was a Wednesday evening in August. I had the day off work and everything at the time. It's just I couldn't get a ticket to go with my mate, and then so that meant I didn't have any transport. So I was just kind of like, yeah. It's before I had my minibus, and it was before the club were doing the away travel again, because that was stopped for a few years because of our financial trouble and Mel Morris being a knobhead to every one of our fans, pretty much.
Well, Forest Green's keeper finally saving a Shrewsbury shot there, but Salop's already 1-0 up. Again, like I said, despite their opening day win over...
Luke McGee, isn't he?
Yeah, McGee is FGR's keeper.
Ended up spending the second half of the season on loan at Derby.
Oh, he did as well, didn't he? That is very true.
Not that he played. He didn't play. He didn't step foot on the pitch once for us, but...
Forest Green fans are going to...
I have a slight feeling he might end up being our second choice goalkeeper, though. Because he's out of contract.
And there we go, that's 2-0.
I'm feeling he might.
Forest Green fans will not want to wait for Matchweek 29, I believe it is, because that's when they face Shrewsbury away and will 1-0 up for the majority of the game for Shrewsbury to score 2 90-minute goals.
Shrewsbury are an annoying team.
They're like Lincoln and Fleetwood. They are basically as League One as you can get. They'll stop you going up and then they'll make you go down. They're honestly one of those, and that's exactly what I said to Harvey and Liam when
another one I guess is Burton.
Oh, it is actually as well. At the start of the season, I wouldn't have said that, but towards the end of the season, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen my League One sort of initial sort of prediction. I've actually got Burton in the top 6. I've got them in the playoffs.
Oh, fair enough. Well, to be fair, I do. Liam's shell-shocked already.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think ever since Christmas, I think they have like the 7th best form in the league.
Well, they have done well. Obviously, they have done really well for themselves, and I know I've got them to be. I think I've got the mid-table so far. I think around 10th or 11th, but I do see them as a bit of dark horses. Yeah, because the way Dino Mamria has completely transformed that club has been incredible. After the what we saw in round 6.
I know it could come back to bite me because maybe all 3. I don't think we're going to go back up, but I don't think all 3 of them are going to. The all 3 of them could go up, I guess. But I'm not really excited, I guess, by the 3 teams coming down from the Championship this season. I think Blackpool could be all right. I think Reading have the potential to be, but they've got 8 players currently, no manager, and their director of football's on some sort of leave because of a family bereavement. And Wigan, well, less said about them the better because they might not even make the start of the season, sadly. So
Oh yeah, no, that's awful news. But hopefully for them, things pull together and all that, because I don't want to. I don't. Obviously, none of us want to see a league next season with just 23 teams.
Well, I don't want. You always think about the missing hole. We talk about the
You
missing
do.
hole in the league, but more importantly, when you talk about these things, it'd be a missing hole in Wigan's community.
It would be, without a shadow of a doubt.
The most important fact about every football club is the impact that it has on the people.
It does, definitely. This is actually a blow for FGR, because apart from the big chances, they've actually been better than Shrewsbury in everything in this game. So that just shows how important this win was for Salop at the end, for their second win of the season. Jordan Shipley getting man of the match. And Rossi playing well. I mean, he was a bloody unbelievable against us before we scored those 2 goals. Oh yeah, no, a 2-0 win for Shrewsbury at the end, of course. Salop's second win of the season. They will continue to try and improve on that, because I know, of course, during parts of February, March, they looked like playoff candidates before their awful runs sunk back in again. And I thought we were going to walk away from Shrewsbury with a point. The winner was just, how many times have Liam and I said how much limbs that was at the 95th minute, whatever it was?
Yeah. Well, that's how you want to win games of football. If you can choose to win them anyway, in injury time's a pretty good bet.
I think I got this prediction, well, not right, but I think I got the outcome right, because I think I did back a Shrewsbury win regardless. Oh, no, I didn't. I got it completely wrong. I said a 0-0. I thought Shrewsbury wouldn't, because before that they drew 1-1 with Bristol Rovers away at the Mem, our favourite ground. And basically, I just didn't think they'd capitalise on that, and I thought they'd be inconsistent again at Forest Green, so I went with a 0-0. But no, that was a good win for Salop at the end. 2-0 winners, and now we move on to the one game of my predictions for round 7 that I did get absolutely spot on. And annoyingly, it does involve the most irritating club in the world. Exeter City hosting MK Dons. I predicted 1-0 Exeter, and it was 1-0 Exeter. You absolute cunt! As Liam's just proven there. Yeah, go on, Connor.
I didn't realise, saying about absolute twats. I didn't realise that, Liverpool or Man United or, one of those clubs that's ended up in League One.
Oh, no, but they are up there. I agree with that. Well, Liam will disagree because he loves Man United, obviously.
Yeah, well.
I definitely agree with Liam, though, that Liverpool's the much more irritating club. 100%. But that's just me, though.
It's personal, bro. I don't like any of the big 6, personally, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously for me, I'm not a fan of any of the big 6 other than Chelsea, of course, because they are my favourite Premier League team from my dad. Of course, guys, a reminder that the Premier League fixtures come out on Thursday morning. I will be doing an early stream of that, just to react on who everyone has got round by round, from rounds 31 to... 31, rounds 1 to round 38. But yeah, no, of course, for the time being, annoyingly, Exeter's home win against MK Dons. I've got on the screen now.
Let's get this video sorted. Let's get the video sorted, Jack, and let's move on very quickly.
It's only 2 minutes, to be fair. It could be worse.
Yeah,
you've been going onto YouTube for these. There's a highlights thing on the top right of the football screen.
Let me have a look.
On the top right of the football.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see that, to be fair. Oh, fair enough. I'll use that from tomorrow morning onwards. I didn't even realise that. Fair play.
Yeah.
It's because I'm so used to opening YouTube as it is and then just search it up and then I've got it. You know what that reminds me of then, Liam, when he said, let's get this over and done with, move on, is when I reacted to our freaking defeat to Fleetwood. I was like, oh, not Fleetwood away. And then Terry commented on my stream going, move on.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we only lost 7 times this season. I
You'll
can't
do very,
wait.
very well to match. You'll do very, very well to match that again next year.
Yeah, no, we will. I agree. Well, I've already said to Liam, I can only see us win about 2 games away next season. I don't think our away
Just
record.
say 2
I know
games
it's very
full stop, isn't there?
early predictions, of course, very early predictions, of course, but I just don't see our away form doing well at all. And these are really hard clubs to play against as well.
I've got 13 wins. I've got 13 wins for us so far. Most of them home games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me, to be fair. It's something we got
for you so far. I'm going sort of 19th, 20th, sort of 50 odd
Oh,
points.
okay. I'll take that. To be fair,
How
I mean,
many
to be
home
fair,
wins?
at the moment, it doesn't help our cause with getting rid of James Wilson as Exeter score their winner.
Well, at the moment, it doesn't look great. You've lost quite a few key players. You've
No,
not
yeah, we
signed
have. You're
anyone.
right.
I know it's, as I said, there's months of the window left. You're going into the league on the smallest budget, and you've also lost all your loan players, of course, of which are of quite key nature to you because a lot of them played like
Yeah. The only one that looks likely to come back is Azaz, but the rest, no.
Yeah.
And I don't see us getting Mumba back
So
at all.
obviously, you've got a lot of work to do with that.
We do, 100%.
Yeah.
The only positive I can say in all this is that despite it looks very bleak, getting rid of Mayer, Ennis, Mayer going, Ennis going, James Wilson going. I'm at the moment looking to that into thinking, obviously the summer transfer window starts tomorrow, of course, so can't really worry yet. It's the 13th of June, it's early days.
I think about it the same way that I thought now McGoldrick's left Derby, even though he's a key player, you've got to think of it like this: out with the old and in with the new. You know,
exactly.
You don't keep hold of players forever, and you don't improve by just keeping the same
100%.
players and they're deteriorating in age. You know, you've got
without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, and that's what I'm looking into for this summer transfer window. So I reacted to Wilson leaving today, just going, as long as Hallett knows what he's doing with who we're bringing in and stuff, and players that want to come, then hopefully we can still pull off a decent season for us in the Championship.
Yeah, and you'll have to see about whether it comes as you're expecting or not.
Oh, definitely. As for our neighbours, of course, this was I think this is Exeter's 3rd win of the season. Because they, it is their 3rd win of the season because they lost to Cheltenham and then they drew with Accrington Stanley 0-0. So, yeah, this is Exeter's 3rd win of the season. MK Dons, of course, continuing their dreadful starts. As we all know, they're now in League 2 for next season. I think they're dubbed as one of the favourites at the moment, I swear, to go back
I imagine they will be.
Who's this?
MK.
Well, if you look at the other 3 teams that have gone down, Morecambe and Accrington, they're not particularly big football clubs, so you think relegation might actually make them suffer a little bit.
Can't lie, I don't think they're bad enough anyway.
I think you look at Milton MK Dons, I think they're a slightly better side. They've got a bit more potential, but then you've got other teams. You've got your typical, your Stockport, your Salford, your Bradford, of course. You've also got Wrexham and Notts County coming into the division.
You do,
on the back of, those 2 amazing National League campaigns, and then what's been pretty aggressive already by Notts. I know they lost Ruben Rodriguez.
Here's the MK one, Chuck.
The signing of McGoldrick.
Oh, okay. Here's the bets for the time being. I love Jacob's comment. The less said about Liverpool, the better. Wrexham favourites, then Stockport, then Notts County. I'm not surprised they are and Bradford. I'm not surprised they're the top 4 for favourites. One of Connor's local clubs is up there as well, Mansfield. Oh, well, not quite local because it's Nottinghamshire.
Notts County is probably more local to me than Mansfield, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough.
Connor, be happy about this one.
What's this?
Once it loads.
I'm waiting to see what Liam uploads here. Oh, League 1 betting odds.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
To win the league.
It shows, actually, our odds haven't really changed, despite the fact that other people's have lengthened and ours haven't, which is weird.
I'm surprised.
We've lost McGoldrick, and we perceived to have lost a couple of transfer battles that I'm not convinced we were even in for the players for, and yet we're still the favourites for the league. I think the reality is everyone is going to use Derby. If you're an agent, and you're trying to go to a League 1 club, everyone's going to use Derby, the biggest side of the division, to say they're interested in it, to try and get other clubs to bid. even if we are or not.
You look at the league and it looks really mediocre. You should easily top the league.
Yeah, the pressure's on us as a big club, but that also was the case with Sunderland for 4 years.
It was,
Ipswich for 4 years, and so I think you have to hold your nerve as well. You have to do things right. But I'm optimistic. I'm not going to start being all doom and gloom because we've lost a 36-year-old injury-prone striker who happened to score 25 goals last year. And we've lost out a transfer battle that we weren't even interested in for a non-league. Somebody who's not ever played above non-league. I'm not saying that Ruben Rodriguez isn't a good signing for Oxford. I'm just saying the fact is he's 26 and the highest level he plays for National League, which, to be honest, if that was our ambition of a target anyway, I'd be a bit disappointed.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean there. It's a bit similar with us because we're very linked with Notts County's Langstaff, but we're reacting.
I don't think that's a good thing to do. I think if you're
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the same as you on this. I'm looking into that, thinking it's an addition to the squad, but it's signing a League Two player into the Championship.
If you're a mid-table side in your league, you can take a risk with players. If
exactly.
they're good, they'll do really well. I think if you're fighting at the top or bottom of the league, you don't want to take a risk. You want to make sure the players you bring in are there for the job. If you're at the bottom of the league, you need the experience to get out of it. You need the knowledge of the division. And I think if you're, at the top, you need young, hungry footballers. But you need them to have had some sort of proof of ability at the level you're at. Otherwise, there's no point in that. So I'm not saying I wouldn't take him, Rodriguez. I just think that, to start with, my indication from what I've seen is that we weren't interested in him in the first place. And secondly, so it's just that just shows the betting odds just show. But the thing is, I don't know what the betting odds show, to be honest, because I think the betting odds just often are a ranking of who's the biggest club. I think if you get the betting odds right now, I think you'll probably be at the highest chance to get relegated.
I mean, we are at the moment anyway, but not surprised.
I'm not blaming them
too
much.
are.
I'm not blaming them too much because you have lost a good few players. You've not
we have
hasn't yet done anything, and you are a newcomer to the league. But betting odds are often based on just who's a big club and who people have heard of and how many bets people are fielding for each given team. So
I literally said to Liam, the minute I saw Rotherham stay up, I thought, well, that's us two already the bookies' least favourites for next season.
Be Plymouth and Rotherham, and people will be going, who finishes 23rd, who finishes 24th. But in reality, there'll be more teams down there.
Of course there will. Of course there will. Of course, for this game, this is the one prediction I got right. I said it'd be 1-0.
You do have a comment,
and it was.
Jack, you have a comment.
Oh, I have a comment. I'll read that for the time being. We are dead certain to go down with the current squad we have. Well, I see your point, Sam, because I'm gutted we've lost the 3 players that have left us. I totally understand that. And I've said this to Liam, I've said this to Harvey. If we can replace them well and surprise people next season and keep the home form we've got from this season into next season into the Championship, I think we'll be okay. But I am saying that with my heart. At the same time, I won't be surprised if we're down there either. So,
to be fair, I mean,
Elliot, Connor and I were talking about this the other day. Connor and I were literally saying Argyle could genuinely finish anywhere. And I completely agree. With a big if. And I said that in my early predictions, with a big if.
You can never tell. So there's lots of different sides. So you see it with these sides with low budgets, you get your Lutons who've slowly improved, and like Brentford who came in with a low budget, sort of increased to a medium budget and got promoted. You have, and then you have for teams that just stick in the Championship forever, like a Preston, they've not got a massive budget. Then you also have your teams like Yeovil, for example, who came up with a low budget, got relegated, and it ended up with them in the 6th tier.
Yeah, now they're playing Truro next season.
Yeah, so I think you don't know, and I think it's look, calling it now, we're all just doing it for a bit of fun, where we think a team might finish, but in reality, you need the transfer window to be done. You need to have maybe had a good month or 2 of fixtures really before you can really start seeing where teams even might be. So predictions are all a bit of fun and games, but until you get to about Christmas, you really don't know about how, if the side's actually in trouble or not.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, I think if we lose a cup, I think if we lose a couple of home games, like 4 or 5 home games, I think most of our fans would just.
I do think one thing I do remember is when Blackpool went up season before last. And
they survived.
They did really well. They were in and around the playoffs the first half of the season, and then the second half of the season they were in relegation form. And the they only really stayed up because of good results, particularly at home in the first half of the season. They really fell apart.
Yeah.
And then in the second season, they hit second season syndrome and went down. I think that if you end up finishing 18th after having a good first half of the season and then an average second half, it won't be too bad of a season. However, I do think if you start the season poorly, you probably are going down.
Yeah,
I think for you more than anyone else, I think you need momentum with your current squad.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree.
At home, a good start to the season is vital for a side that's trying to, go off continuity and all that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Of course, from this game back in round 7, of course, it did show at the end, Scum did actually pretty much beat MK in every single aspect here. Although they're nearly 50-50 on possession. But Diabate getting the goal scorer.
Topped MK's possession because they would have been under Manning at the time, who likes the ball.
They were, yeah. This is when both clubs were with. This is where both clubs had their former managers. Of course, Exeter with Matt Taylor, who they've had for years, and then MK with Liam Manning. So all that really. But what's Sam saying here? How many players do you realistically think we need to sign? But agree we could finish anywhere. Yeah, you got a point, mate. You have got a point. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a long season for sure, which I'm excited for, regardless, because, well, let's face it, we're back in the Championship. But yeah, with that game, the one prediction I got right, Exeter beating MK Dons 1-0. That's exactly what they did. MK continuing their dreadful start to the season. Obviously, eventually getting relegated. In fact, that's actually a disappointing let-off for a disappointment anyway for MK, that result, because they have just come back from a 4-0 thrashing away from home at Morecambe to then lose straight away at Exeter.
Jack, how many players do you currently have, contracted?
We have got...
How many players do you realistically think we need to sign? I agree we can finish it, because I think whatever takes you to about 25 senior players, really. So if you're on 16, maybe 8 or 9. I don't know.
Well, that's the one thing that I think that will let us down is that. This is very early, of course, but at the moment our squad is way too thin. We've got about 20 players. I'm looking at our squad now on the internet. Cooper, Gillespie, Houghton, Scar, Butcher, Joe Edwards, Hardy, Miller, Randall, Galloway, Ben Wayne, Saxon Early, Callum Burton, Callum Wright, Tyrick Wright, Jack Endicott, Oscar Halls, Will Jenkins Davis, Zach Baker. James Wilson's just left. So, yeah, we've got 19 players in our squad.
And then there's a couple of real fringe youth players in there.
And then we got the youth and reserve squad. So Kieran Edworthy, Freddie Asaka, Caleb Roberts.
Would you say you've got 16, 17 players of championship quality?
No.
Well, 16, 17 that you would happily say are in your first team picture.
I'll try and have a think about it now. Obviously, definitely Cooper. He's the most championship quality out of any of our players. 17 of those players. Cooper, Gillespie, Houghton, Scar, Butcher, Hardy, Randall. Definitely Randall. I'd have to put Joe in there. If I had to choose, I'd have to put Galloway in there. Yeah, then Miller, then Ben Wayne, then Saxon Early, then Callum Burton, then Callum Wright. It'd be 14 players, to be honest, 14. Connor, because I don't rate Tyrick Wright one bit for us.
So if you've got 14 players and then a couple of maybe squad people, realistically, you probably need 10 players.
Exactly. I completely agree. And that's what I was saying to everyone on Discord the other day. Our squad's too thin.
If you're going to get 10 players, I'd say maybe 3 experienced free agents, 3 proper signings, and 4 loans.
Yeah.
Something like that. You balance it around your squad, you probably will get the quality you need then. But it's really important. You will need some people, because one of the most things that's notable about Plymouth squad, I'm not saying it's a problem, but there is very little experience of the top 2 leagues whatsoever. I think I did a list of this, and it was every single League One squad last year by appearances in the Championship and Premier League, and Plymouth were in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
And then you're now going into that league. So you're going into that league in the 4th worst experience position in League One to go into it.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think it's crucial that you sign some championship experience.
No, I couldn't agree more.
You've got to have somebody who knows the league there. Schumacher doesn't know the league. None of your players know the league. They know how to play with each other, and Schumacher's great tactically, sure, and you're in great momentum. But you've got to sign the right players here. It's
I agree. I completely agree. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Saying, I just think that if you finish anything above the relegation zone, I think it's a successful season for Argyle. I do think you will stay up. I just think you've got to keep the faith throughout the season, even if it's looking.
Yeah, we
tough.
We have to.
It will be tough. It's the Championship, and whilst the Championship over the last couple of years might have looked a little bit weaker than it's been previously, I think you look at it now. With the 3 teams that got relegated, and then Ipswich and Wednesday promoted back into it. With 3 relegated teams this year of Leicester, Southampton, and Leeds.
Exactly.
And the teams that got promoted being, Luton's in there, and without, I'm not disrespecting them, but they're not the biggest club in the world, even though they've been very good and they got promoted. You've got a Championship full of big clubs that know the Championship well, and you're going to be battling with them, and that's the fun of the Championship, but it's also the difficulty of the Championship. And God knows how well Plymouth will do. We'll see.
I couldn't agree more. It's going to be very interesting. All Liam and I have said at the time being is that what we don't want is basically a repeat of what Forest Green did this season in League One. But
it's pretty hard to do that. I mean, that's a very low tally.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's good. I certainly don't think you'll be the whipping boys of the league. I don't think you'll finish bottom of the league. I really don't. I think you'll survive, as I say. I'd be a bit more worried maybe long term because Blackpool, for example. But first season, no, I think you'll be all right. But you do need to make the right signings.
Yeah, someone made a prediction the other day that they wouldn't be surprised with us if we're in the Championship for another 6 seasons, just like we were from 2004 to 04-05 to 09-10.
Who knows?
And then back in League One again.
Who knows? I think. What I will say is that even though it sounds weird because you won the league, I do think you're in a worse position than Ipswich.
No, we are. We are. I agree. I completely agree.
If you look at their squads, not only do they have more players initially,
exactly,
because they had fewer loanees, and they have a squad that feels ready-made for the Championship.
They do.
Squad
You're right.
Barely looks recognisable for a Championship tie. Now, I'm not saying that's a problem because Luton, when they got promoted, didn't look recognisable as a Championship squad either.
No, they didn't.
You've got to remember that everybody mentions Luton got promoted to the Premier League this year. They did. But Luton's first 2 seasons of the Championship were hell. They were bottom of the league for most of those 2 seasons, and they scraped survival 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And look where they are now.
Yeah, this just shows how well they've done for themselves.
To start with.
Exactly.
Anyway, do we have any more games? We have more games.
We got 2 more games to go. But yeah, I was just gonna add on to that. I personally also think. I was just going to add on to that. I personally think that this is the other reason why I think Ipswich and Wednesday are going to do better than us next season is also because, first of all, I think another reason why we ended up beating them to the line this season was I just think we're more used to League One football than those 2 are. But I think those 2 are going to be so much more used to Championship football than we are. So there's that as well.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, obviously,
100%.
I just think. When you look at Wednesday, you look at Ipswich, you think, no, they don't have to do that much. I think you look at you go, you really need to get a move on. You do because.
Oh yeah, no. The main bit of faith I have right now is reacting to Liam's early Championship scoreline predictions yesterday and looking at the table after 5 games, and we were like 12th or something, and Ipswich were bottom 3. I thought, could you imagine?
Depends on the order you get. I mean, for all you know, you might start the season with Leeds away, Southampton at home, and then, I don't know, Middlesbrough away, and then Sunderland at home, and you're on 0 points. So you're thinking, fuck, so it's just. But then you also might start with Rotherham and Cardiff, and then you go out.
Yeah, happy 24th birthday, Jackie boy. Leeds away on the opening day.
Yeah. Well, that would definitely be a welcome to the Championship go.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
Yeah. One of the weirdest things, I don't know if you've seen, there's a rumour around at Leeds that they might appoint Carl Robinson as their permanent manager.
I did see that actually.
I find that mental.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
The funny thing is, they tried to get him in 2016 and he turned them down.
Yeah.
He turned them down in 2016
true.
and he might be just hand up a job after being sacked at Oxford.
I was just going to say, could you imagine nearly you're on the verge of taking Oxford to relegation to League Two and then you bring Leeds back up to the Premier League? The same manager.
Well, like, you look at Leicester and so far I've seen like they've got Solskjaer on the manager odds list.
I saw that.
They've got Nuno. Scott Parker, Nuno Espirito Santo. Like it's a real mix of managerial names, I'll tell you that.
Oh, 100%.
We'll see.
I think Leicester will go back up anyway.
Well, all three of the newly relegated sides don't currently have a manager. I mean, we pretty much know that Southampton are going to appoint Russell Martin. We know that.
Yeah.
But it's not confirmed yet.
No, it isn't, no. It's going to be interesting to see, actually. It's going to be interesting to see, actually, who Swansea brings in from Russell Martin.
Yeah, it will be very interesting.
Because that's going to be interesting how they do next season as well. Obviously, after finishing 10th in the Championship.
That also could be of relevance with you guys regarding the Morgan Whittaker thing.
Exactly.
You know, if a new manager comes in and likes the look of him, they might not want to be selling up.
All I'm going to say is right now, guys, is that Connor has a secret admiration for Morgan Whittaker.
I very much don't.
Yeah. 2 games to go, of course, in this round 7. Actually, I'll look at Sam's comment at the moment. Do you think Exeter will win League One? No.
No.
It would be the worst day of our lives if they did.
No.
Although I will say this, I do think one day they will make the Championship, but I think they'll do exactly.
No.
I was talking, but
absolutely not.
But I think they'll do it. However, I did say however before you decided to freaking play that meme. Anyway, however, I think they'll do exactly. I think they'll do exactly what Yeovil did and go straight back down.
Yeovil, Gillingham, Grimsby, Walsall, Southend, Colchester,
Crewe.
Crewe. They've all been in the Championship. If they can make the Championship, Exeter can make the Burton Albion. You know, like
Burton's done, of course they have. Lincoln were close. Lincoln were very close in 21.
You can make it, but staying up there's a different thing. I think. The Championship seems to be the pinnacle of their existence.
If someone asked me though,
historically for you, but you're a significantly bigger club than the ones I mentioned.
If someone asked me if Exeter, do you think Exeter will make the playoffs? I would say this: if they did, I think they'll make the final, but they'll lose the final because they know they love losing at Wembley.
No, I think that Exeter are going to have a worse season than this year, but I think
so do I.
I've got them narrowly staying up.
Just Liam's background noise there. Good. Jacob Perry saying, "Yo, I am really upset. I hope you're all right, mate. I hope everything's good wherever you are, mate. I don't know, but hope either way, hope all is okay wherever you are, pal. Oxford Burton. We'll get on to this highlights now, of course, but of course this was back when Adebayojo was playing for Burton before his move to Bolton in the transfer window. But yeah, it was when Cameron, another star performance from Cameron Brannigan, and this was Oxford's 3rd win of the season. So they're picking up momentum slightly. They're picking up momentum slightly, despite their dreadful season overall. I'll wait for this Macmillan advert to finish.
Macmillan.
I'll just wait for that to finish, and then you boys will be able to see the highlights of this very yellow game at the Kassam Stadium between these two. One of them being one of Derby's neighbours, of course, who they've got to play next season.
Yellow.
Yeah, I always joke around to Connor about Burton, saying, "Oh, it's your local Derby in League One."
Yeah, I don't care about them.
But obviously, Derby don't give a shit about Burton.
I don't mind Burton. I've watched Burton a lot, and I used to watch them a lot when we was in the Championship. I used to go quite a bit on international breaks, so I've got no hatred for Burton. I just obviously when we play them, of course, it's normal, as with anyone. I get in a mood of it, but
I was going to say, if that went in, that would have been one of the most deflective goals I've seen all season. And well, Brannigan slots it in anyway, regardless. Obviously, he was Oxford's star man this season. Do you think he'll still be there next season, or do you think he'll go somewhere else?
I don't. He's got a long contract, so.
Well, yeah, he has got a long contract, to be fair, and he hasn't been linked with anyone either.
The way I see it is, he was very close against Blackpool last season, and he didn't. And I don't think he's going to have more suitors this year than he had last year.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, again, although I've been hearing that, a lot of people think at the moment that Oxford's going to do a lot better next season than this season with Liam Manning at the helm, of course.
I think you look at them, they've obviously had if you look at their track, they've had like 3 seasons being in and around the playoffs and then relegation battle. I think it's natural to think they'll return somewhat around where they were before.
Yeah.
I'm not personally thinking top 6, but I don't think it's that far away.
I wouldn't be surprised if they finish top half, though. Maybe around like your 11th or 12th, or maybe even 9th or something. It could be a return to the top half of the table, regardless. But obviously, this was round 7. This was back when I saw Oxford as a threat to the season, because of course they finished just below us in the playoffs the season outside the playoffs. Sorry, the season before. But yeah, I obviously none of us expected them to have the season they had at the end. That's why I called our home game against Oxford a really tough game, because I thought it's going to go one way or the other. It's 2 teams that battled for playoffs last season, and we ended up winners.
And because Oxford are always in the round playoffs, I was thinking it was a real marker to where we were at the time.
Yeah, it was a no problem win for Oxford at the end. Brannigan getting man of the match from FOTMob. My prediction for this game was, I know it was an Oxford win, but I said 3-0, not 2-1. And again, that's just me thinking back in early September on how dreadful Bolton.
There's been another question from Sam in the chat.
Okay.
I don't know about your number of season ticket holders or what you've got.
I'll look at that second once I've read all this out. But yeah, Oxford just beating Burton on possession and then expected goals as well. Burton doing better on the total shots. Oxford better in basically every other department. But yeah, no, an important 3 points for them to try and kick off their season. But obviously it would get worse from that point onwards with some of the occasional wins like their fog win over Ipswich, of course. Great win that was. But yeah. Last question. Do you think Yep, very, very true, Liam. Very true. Last question. Do you think home tickets will make general sale next season? I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm very lucky because I work at the club, so I'm all right. But actually, I'm gonna let Liam answer this question. Do you think that, Liam? This question here from Sam.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that. Considering we're back in the championship and now our capacity is around between 17 and 18,000.
Aren't you ending your evergreen thing?
I don't think we're ending evergreen. We were just starting it.
There was something about with the season tickets, or
well, that was just basically for people like me can't get a new season ticket and all that. But no, evergreen's not going to end because I know they've just Argyle's just set it up back in January at the start of this year. But it wouldn't. But I agree with Liam that I don't think. I think the home tickets. I think it depends on who we're playing. If we're playing, I know that's an odd thing to say because they're all championship clubs. We're a level above and all that. But if we're going to play the likes of, I don't know, Southampton, Bristol City, Ipswich, I don't know. There's just no way I can see the home tickets going into general sale. In fact, I agree.
You go from the bottom two, then
Rotherham might be different, but like you say there, Connor. Actually, I think it depends on how the season goes. First few games, August, September. No, I don't see it going into general sale at all. Just got
promoted
to the championship.
Obviously, they will go on sale because you won't sell you won't sell a number of season tickets that's greater than your number of
Oh,
season.
exactly.
But you'll have, I'm sure you have other priority things after the
But
season.
I was just going to say, if the season does end up being an absolute disaster, especially for the first half, and we look very certain to go down back to League One, then, yeah, I can see a lot of games in the second half of the season not reaching general sale because of that.
You know what? We've been saying about how Plymouth's attendances have picked up massively in recent years. Nobody talks about Plymouth's support, how good it's been in the last couple of years. If you are in a relegation battle and you are struggling in the Championship, that'll be a real test of if your fan base is sticking around and what you actually.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And
Hope Park starts being empty, then that really is a thing if they're only there because you're winning.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's not empty. It's not your MK, of course, but in terms of like some empty seats scattered around the home end, yes, that has happened. It happened in our League 2 years as well, and this is where I compare us to Charlton. If you're in a bad state of if you're in either a bad state or you're the club's in a position you really don't want to be in, then
I'll answer
the attendances go so low. I was shell shocked with the amount Charlton brought to Home Park, but if they were in a much better position and they were in the Championship or something like that, they would have brought so much more.
Wally Daft, Hull will go down. Will they? No, I don't.
Well, that's my. Oh yeah, well, he's reacting to my comment on Alex Griffin's channel the other day because Alex Griffin made an early prediction saying that we'll go down. So I bantery joked, commented on it saying, Alex, I thought we were friends, mate. But in my live stream, early predictions, of course, this will be completely different, obviously, by the time July comes before the season starts. But I made an early prediction that my bottom three would be Birmingham, Cardiff, and Hull, and I only said that because I'm not sure how Liam Rosenior is going to do for a full season at Hull next season. I know he's the reason why Hull had a much better season this season, but who knows what next season can bring. They might prove me wrong, to be fair.
Hull got taken over. Hull got taken over quite recently, and they've got a rich Turkish owner who pumped a lot of money into the club. They've got one of the highest wage bills, one of the higher wage bills in the league after last season. And I think they're on the way up, if anything, to be honest. I don't think they're on the way down.
Fair enough.
Maybe there is a question about Liam Rosenior. There was at Derby, which is why we released him because we wanted to go a different way. But I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he's maybe a bit naive at times, particularly away from home in League One. But I think Hull will be comfortably safe, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think when you predict him a bottom three, you go who? My immediate reaction is Cardiff and Rotherham, but I'm struggling for a third.
I can't lie. I also went with these three because I just knew everyone was going for Rotherham, so I just wanted to put a bit of a surprise there and put Rotherham to stay up.
Down there for a long time that I think could actually get relegated, and it might seem a little bit weird, but the Stoke maybe
they might, to be fair,
because they've been getting progressively worse.
16th at the moment, early predictions wise.
Well, it's always a safe bet to put Stoke 16th. It's pretty. They finish there every year.
Yeah, no, I just don't see them improving one bit at all at the moment.
I don't think Birmingham are going to get worse because I think Birmingham are about to be taken over.
Yeah,
and they're about to get a hefty amount of money from their salon fee for Jude Bellingham as well.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people think QPR could go down this season as well. They're another one.
I agree. QPR could be down there. I think Rotherham's based on, maybe it might be difficult for them. It's always difficult for them, sort of thing. Cardiff I believe they've got a transfer embargo. They were down there.
Yeah, because I had a comment after I said that.
I don't think so. I think Neil Warnock's going to have a.
Yeah, I think Huddersfield will be fine. Warnock's underrated, of course, and all that. But don't worry, mate. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, it's just an early prediction. I could be so wrong at the end. We'll see. But no, basically, I don't think he's actively saying he wants Hull to go down. Exactly. It's not Preston, is it? So. The only one I want going down is Preston, so I can just go, well, hey, to Ryan Lowe. Yeah. But and QPR because
wouldn't that be a turn off the books if you get relegated at Deepdale on the final day?
Gareth Ainsworth, and also not a fan of the club at all because obviously they can't stand Chelsea.
Jack, that'd be your worst nightmare, wouldn't it? Getting relegated on the final day at Deepdale.
Oh, God, it would be our worst nightmare. Could you imagine, though, it was us, Preston and QPR going down? So I'd be like, well, we're facing the two annoying ones again next season.
If Preston were in a relegation battle, I don't think Ryan Lowe would have been keeping his job for very long in the season, to be honest.
No, I don't think he would, to be honest. But yeah, no, I can't remember. Yeah, someone commented about my whole prediction, going, you've got us to go down. I hope we batter you now when we play you. I was like, I'm not surprised. To be fair, I'd say the same reaction if someone said for us to go down, but we could still. Yeah, it's a long championship campaign. Very exciting. Nerves are going to be over the roof, and like Lucas said to me on Mitchell's stream the other day, there's probably going to be about, I don't know, God knows how many I hate football moments next season in the championship. But yeah,
well, it's the fun of it all.
That is the fun of football at the end of the day.
If it was too easy, it wouldn't be. If it was too easy, it wouldn't be fun, would it?
Yeah, exactly. You are right at the end. You are right.
It's just to win with another terrible.
Daryl, he's feeling a bit low if Preston went. Yeah, for the very, very Daryl that is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the last game of this review is this one here. Port Vale versus Cheltenham. Cheltenham getting themselves a good point at the end.
Little early prediction from me. I think this could there'd definitely be a relegation 6-pointer next year.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got these.
In fact, I believe I have Cheltenham. I believe I have Cheltenham bottom in my early predictions. So sorry.
I've got Port Vale bottom in my early predictions at the moment. I've got both of these two in my bottom four at the moment for early predictions, with my other two at the moment, Cambridge and Wigan. I've got Stevenage to just stay up at the moment, and that's because I've just seen Cambridge's retain list. It is huge. So yeah, my current bottom four at the moment, early predictions, Port Vale, Cheltenham, Cambridge and Wigan. And then the three going up, I've got Derby, Barnsley, Automatics and Bolton to win the playoff final. And that's N'Lundulu giving Cheltenham the lead. Obviously, before he went to Bolton in the January transfer window. I said at the moment, I've got a Bolton-Blackpool playoff final, which would be ironic for Ian Evatt because he knows both clubs so well.
Actually, I don't have Port Vale on the bottom four. I have my current bottom four is Wigan, Cambridge, Stevenage, and Cheltenham. By the way.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I've got Carlisle and Exeter basically staying up on the final day.
Oh, okay, interesting. I see. I've got Northampton to stay up on the final day. There's Port Vale equalising.
Yeah.
I just think Port Vale getting rid of Darryl Clark at the last minute of this season was just one of the stupidest manager decisions I've ever seen.
Well, I think especially because didn't they replace him with his assistant?
I think they did, yeah. I'm gonna double check it on my phone for the time being.
That like Crosby guy or whatever it was.
I think it is.
I don't really see a point in sacking a manager just to appoint that assistant.
No, yeah.
Like the only reason.
Yeah, Andy Crosby's their manager. Yeah.
The only reason I think you should appoint your assistant manager as manager is if your manager's left you, not if you've sacked them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did when Ryan Lowe left us. Shuey took over.
Well, we also did it. You might recall with appointing senior after Rooney.
Speaking about Argyle, former Argyle, as I say, what a brilliant player that man is. Good old Ryan Broom giving Cheltenham a goal there.
Yeah,
and then Vale would eventually find their equaliser.
Darren-esque joke. He swept it in.
Yeah, they're very true. I know. Well, Port Vale found it anyway, but yeah, it ended 2-2 between these two. Not a bad point for Cheltenham. Not a bad point for either of them, to be fair. But like Connor said, these could be two right down there next season in the battle for staying up. Pretty much 50-50 on possession, and then Vale doing everything else. But yeah, I'm not surprised that was the draw at the end. I can't remember what my prediction was for this. I am going to get it up.
The only problem, Daryl, with the whole Wigan thing is the fact that it's optimistic to even think this is as good as it's going. You know, this is the worst it's going to be. You know, that they've got a situation where they've been told if they don't pay their players by Friday, their players can rip up their contracts at will. They've got a transfer embargo. They've got an 8-point deduction, which might be about to turn to 12 or even worse if they fall into administration.
Exactly.
And they've got a winding up day in court with HMRC on the 26th of July. So I would say it's probably more likely that Wigan cease to exist as a football club by the time we get to August than it is Wigan staying up by the end of the season. And I hope I'm wrong. I've got nothing against Wigan. I don't like to see football clubs struggling or, you know, we were in a situation only a year ago.
We were in it all
reality
these years
is
ago
at
in
Wigan, it's
2012.
very, very grim. And I think putting it any other way than it is serious and they are very close to dying would be incorrect, because that is the truth.
Exactly.
And I hope they get taken over, but we'll see. I know there is some takeover talks going on.
Yeah, there is. No, there was someone rumored the other day that was on about taking over, but didn't the deal collapse or something?
Well, I think that's a good thing, because that's the guy who tried to take over Morecambe, who's like 20 years old and allegedly doesn't have any money. So I think it'd have made things even worse. But I believe there's a local man that's trying to buy the club now. If he buys the club, maybe saves it at the 11th hour, so to speak. Might be a little bit like Derby last season, saving the club. A local man steps in and saves the club at the final hour. But of course, Wigan will still have the situation of having I believe it's also the case, if they don't pay their players by Friday, they have a mandatory transfer embargo for the next 2 years.
Damn.
So
honestly, it's
not
not
good.
looking bright for them at all at the moment.
No, and of course I feel really sorry for them, not just because of course it's terrible when your club's dying, it's terrible for everyone. You've got to remember that Wigan were in the same situation only a few years ago. So if it happened to the same club, twice in 3 years, I think, and I just personally think, and I know that Liam's a United fan, I know that Daz is as well, but I just think you talk about tonight with the whole Glazers thing and the Qatari bid and all this sort of stuff, and the Glazers are poor owners and all that sort of stuff. At least you don't have to be. At least you're not having to go through the stresses of being a Wigan fan right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nothing compared to Wigan. Nothing compared to Wigan, and that's the same with my point of view. With Chelsea being my second favourite team from my dad, of course, but Todd Bowley's nothing compared to what Wigan's going through.
You look at what's happening to Wigan. It's a scandal. He took over the club 2 years ago, and they're already. It's the same thing with Bury. When Bury got bought, they got bought for £1. Remember, they got bought for £1. They got promoted. Yeah, they got promoted, and then they went bust. Well, Wigan went up, and then they've run out of money.
Yeah.
Sometimes an owner buys a football club for a cheap amount of money. They put a bunch of money in. They get promoted, and they've got no money left, and the club can't run itself because it's making a loss. Then look what happens. And Wigan, a prime example of that. They're spending far too much on wages. They can't match them. I don't see how this, at the very, very best situation, doesn't lead to more points deductions and Wigan in League Two.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
What I'm thinking.
And it's the same with other clubs this season anyway. Southend nearly went through it. Scunthorpe nearly went through it.
Yeah, I mean, Scunthorpe have been saved. I mean, there's a little bit of there's a few questions, I think, into their owner's legitimacy, but there seems to be a few plans at the moment for building a new stadium. They've certainly spent, I think they've built quite a good team for the 6th tier. It's a shame seeing them down there, though. It wasn't that long ago they were on the verge of a return to the Championship. Ivan Toney, Ryan Yates in their squad, Dwayne Holmes. Now look at them, really. It's a massive shame. And you mentioned Southend. It's the same problem there, of course. They keep having HMRC winding up orders and bids, and I think their owner still owns them, so it's a continual problem.
Yeah, no, he is still the owner of Southend, Ron Martin.
Yeah.
Well, for that Port Vale Cheltenham game, I got completely wrong. I actually backed a Cheltenham win because I thought they'd turn on the screw after losing to Oxford at home, but no, not to be. I can't lie. I think I've heavily underestimated Port Vale this season, so they have proved me wrong. Fair play to them. But this is the table after 7 rounds. Ipswich retake the lead from Pompey only through goal difference. We now move up to 3rd after that win over Derby. Derby down to 9th, but still well and truly up there. Wednesday now in that 4th place after losing to Barnsley. And Cambridge now getting into the top 6, ahead of their biggest rivals as well. And then Exeter move up to 7th after their win over MK Dons, just ahead of both Bolton and Derby. And then Barnsley climb up to 10th with that magnificent win over Wednesday. Now, of course, early days, of course, but what were you thinking at this point, Connor, seeing the table like this at the moment after the defeat to us?
He's roughly what I expected. I expected us to have a slow start to the season. We started pre-season late and we didn't have enough players. And I think, sort of semi-satisfied. I've not. There's been very few times this season I've got angry with Derby. But one of the few times was the Lincoln game because it was just a completely unacceptable performance. It was terrible. we hadn't scored away from home in the first 4 games of the season. It's just not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I can imagine. Then, of course, Oxford 11th, Charlton now falling to 12th after that defeat to Bolton, who obviously climbed themselves up to 8th. Sorry, no, it's Shrewsbury now up to 13th with that win over Forest Green. And Forest Green, who were 20th, are now in the relegation zone after it took them 7 games to finally get there. Ahead of Cheltenham, their local rivals, and then Morecambe and Burton still looking to win a game from this season. That would all change.
It's remarkable how safe Burton ended up.
Yeah. It makes it better that
that's
Burton...
what I'm saying. I think they might go on to a very good season. I think I'm only putting them 6th at the moment for a little bit of a shock factor. I don't think I'll end up putting them 6th, but they'll have a good year.
It's actually interesting. It makes mine and Liam's faces happier because Burton's first win of the season actually turned out to be against the most irritating club on the planet.
Yep.
Predictions that we both got completely wrong. But one of our colleagues, Harvey England, got it spot on. He actually said Burton to win it. So fair play. But he would say that, so I don't blame him. But Lincoln just hovering above that relegation zone with the amount of draws they got at the moment. But yeah, all tight for the time being. And then, we'll be moving on to round 8 tomorrow morning. It should be Oxford at home, but I'm going by what actually was match week 8. So it was our 2-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow morning. So it'll be Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford and Portsmouth tomorrow for the next 3 games. But yeah, no, by all means, stay tuned for that. But yeah, at the end of round 7, it is Ipswich that lead the way. So there we go. Well, I guess that is the end of the stream, guys. That is the end of another long stream. That's the longest stream so far of these episodes. But no, it was really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. Of course, cheers to Connor for coming on. Second guest of the review series after Brad, of course, from Barnsley for the opening episodes. Of course, Liam co-presenting with me as usual. But yeah. Yeah, again, cheers for watching, guys. And yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow. Up the Janners, up the Argyle, up the Pilgrims, up the Greens, up the Plymouth. Come on, you boys in green. Anyway, we'll take care. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.